Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be answering a really basic question. And that question is, what is faith? To start, let's consider the very simple definition of faith that the book of Hebrews gives us. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you read Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Note that first phrase. Faith is about having hope in things that have not yet come, exercising belief in promises that have not yet been fulfilled. If we are having faith in things that have already happened, like Christ's death and resurrection, then are we really exercising faith? St. Paul seemed to have this same thought because in Romans chapter 8, verse 24, he said, "For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for?" When we talk about faith, we usually bring up the story of Abraham. We should ask ourselves, what did Abraham have faith in? From the way the Bible account presents it, it looks as though Abraham had faith in the promise God made to him, that a nation would be formed out of his seed. And that had not happened when God made the promise to him. As Genesis chapter 15 verse 6 says, "And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness." The fact that Abraham left his father's house to go to a land that God would show him reveals that he believed that what God was saying was true, even though he did not know where that land was or how long it would take to get there. Even when God told him to sacrifice the son that he waited 25 years for in Genesis chapter 22, he did not hesitate to start the process. It was only God who later stopped him, since the purpose of the instruction had been fulfilled. No wonder James referenced this faith when telling us that faith must be demonstrated by works. Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he had offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect? If you read James chapter 2 verses 21 to 22. We can come to the same conclusion by considering the Israelites in the wilderness. An Israelite that believed that they were a descendant of Abraham was not exercising faith because that was a given. But an Israelite that believed that the God who rescued them from Egypt would be able to help them defeat the giants who abode in the land of Canaan so that they could inherit the land was exercising faith. And such ones were few. In fact, of all those whom Moses led out of Egypt, it was only Joshua and Caleb who truly believed God could and would do that for them. If you read Numbers chapter 13 verse 30 and chapter 14 verses 6 to 9. All the others didn't believe that the land God was taking them to was best for them. They were looking back to Egypt, wishing that they never left. Now, why is this important for us? During his first advent, Jesus Christ used many parables and statements to tell Christians living afterwards that they should believe that one day he would return to restore the world to perfection. He even taught us to pray to God to establish his kingdom and to make his will fulfill on earth as it is in heaven in Matthew chapter 6 verses 9 and 10. Apostle Peter confirmed this in his sermon to the Jews in Acts chapter 3 verses 19 to 21. However, the signs that Christ said would signal his arrival have already come to pass. He said in Matthew chapter 24 verses 7 and 8 that upon his return, which would affect all parts of the globe, according to Luke chapter 22 verse 30 and Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2, nation would rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And this is fulfilled during the two world wars. These were global conflicts that led to the collapse of the monarchical system of the past. And it gave birth to a kind of new world order, which involves democratic leadership and other things in fulfillment of prophecy. So, if Christ has returned based on the fulfillment of these signs, then what are we having faith in? Are we having faith in the fact that Christ paid the ransom? I mean, that's already happened, and thus there's no real need to hope in it. But what Christ is doing now is still in progress, and there's a lot of things that are yet to happen. Do we have faith that Christ will indeed restore peace, prosperity, and life to mankind? If we do have faith in that, then as James said, we should show it by our works. Is our knowledge that Christ is here influencing our decisions? Are we raising our children, if we have them, in such a way that they can understand the new reality? If we're making friends, are we interested in selling that message when God gives us the opportunity? Are we trying to retain our spirituality or faith, even as it declines in the world around us, because we know Christ the King is ruling? Or do we think that secularity is the best route for man? All these are questions of faith. And I think that's where I'm going to stop on answering this question. What is faith? Faith is essentially having hope in things that have not yet been realized, and thus it is connected to the epoch or stage we are in God's plan that has not yet been finished, not the stage that people 500 years ago were in. If you enjoyed this video, then we'd appreciate it if you give it a like, and if you want to subscribe, then we'd also like you to do so. And if you want to be notified when we come back with a new video just like this, then you know what to do. You can click the notification bell. Have a good day, and God bless you.